Welcome, welcome, friends. Let's hit it.
You remember in the 60s when I invented the marsh? Well, now the time has come for me to update that smash. Since I've been out of the fright game for 52 odd years, I invited a new crew to spread spooky cheer. The first to arrive was Dr. Hannibal Lecter. He brought his own date, and he seemed to respect her. They hit the dance floor with a jive and a jitter, and he ripped off her face! He's pulling out her liver!
That's really gross.
Oh my God, what just happened?
He ate her face.
Yes, I know! I saw!
Speaking of song,
I like to play disgusting games.
he broke his jaw.
That is way too graphic. I'm going to faint. Surely all the other guests won't be this rude. Like this classic monster, a scary hip dude. He's got a kooky style and a spooktastic look. Oh my God, he just hung the waiter on a meat hook. Why?
His leather face.
He's cutting him up with a chainsaw.
It's what he does.
Who is Freddy Krueger?
He haunts your dreams.
Ooh, he sounds like a real spooker. I murder teens. You can't escape me, bitch. Language. In my day, the monsters would just give you a spook. Nowadays, it seems they all just want to make you puke. Ah, the human centipede. That sounds like a hit.
Oh, we'll talk about that, Frankenstein.
The front one's shit.
Or Frankenstein's monster.
Everybody out. You all have no idea what Spooktober is about. Here comes the Wolfman. He'll show you how it's done. He knows how to be creepy, but he always keeps it fun. No! That was my friend. Why did he meet such a horrifying end? Is it too much to ask to have some monsters dance? It's really quite a hoot if you give it half a chance. This guy won't let it go. I think it's rather sad. Guys, I feel guilty. And I also feel bad. Let's give him a couple moves. It's the least we can do. Okay, places everybody. And the one, and the two. Look at us dance. You did the monster dance? Hey, look, jazz hands. Don't twist too fast. There's Hustler Smash. Oh, great. It's the girl from the ring.
Her heart is black.
Ooh, she really knows how to swing. I wouldn't look directly at her face if I were you. Oh well, we tried. He died doing what he loved. Monster choreography. Because I'm looking to play. Guys, anyone? Thanks for watching the Key of Awesome. If you want to see all the other Key of Awesomes, click on the link in the description below.
And if you like this video, share it. And if you want us to parody another song, let us know which one. And don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, wait. And if you write a song, at one time, he said he would love to do a parody of the songs that any of you creators write. And this is the Key of Awesome. They have 5.5 million subscribers for anybody that's counting. Now, I know today is November 1st, but even more so than that, it's the Day of the Dead, right? Which is really nothing to do with Halloween. So I thought it was perfect to go into part 2 of the reading of the Encyclopedia of Witchcraft and Demonology, and that is by Robbins. Crown published this book. Crown Publishing Incorporated, that is, in 1959, and it is printed here in the old US of A. So we pick up on page 9, and we're going to make it through page 19 today. I did pre-read it to see if there was any I could leave out. No can do. So what I'm going to do for breaks is go back to the Key of Awesome, because you should always look at people's playlists. It gives you a great idea who they are. And they have a shark cartoon that they've put on their favorite list of theirs. And it's 3 episodes. So we'll break up the reading every few pages with this very interesting shark cartoon. All right. For a century, the Inquisition attacked the Waldensians and Cathari and other heretical sects in southern France. It worked so successfully that it killed most of the heretics and so dried up the sources of its funds. In 1375, the Inquisitor Emmerich lamented, "In our days there are no more rich heretics, so that princes, not seeing much money in prospect, will not put themselves to any expense. It is a pity that so salutary an institution as ours should be so uncertain of its future. Ways and means to forestall the diminution of potential victims had been broached as early as 1258, when the Inquisition asked the Pope whether it ought not to take cognizance of divinity and sorcery. Permission was denied, unless the sorcery involved manifest heresy, the detection and removal of which were the Inquisition's primary purpose. After 1320, when Pope John the 22nd empowered the Inquisition at Carcanon to prosecute those who worshipped demons, entered a pact with them, made images, or used sacred objects to work magic, the Inquisition slowly and unevenly developed its concept of witchcraft, a heresy superimposed on magic. Trials for heretical sorcery occurred at Carcanon in 1330 and 1335, which 74 persons were accused and regularly thereafter. Knock it off, Rex. I guess I should explain why the dogs are all howling. Somebody might think it's witchcraft. So, one of our nice old neighbors is moving away. And, you know, I live on a street where 20 years ago, I mean, this was where all the whoop-de-doos hung out. But they've gotten old now, and they're leaving and new factions are coming. So one of our friends who worked for the railroad all his born days is moving. And so the people are coming and buying his wares. Now, we got these 3 dogs, Rex, Books the pit bull, and Chauncey the old man with the bad skin. Now, Chauncey has grown up in this neighborhood and he feels like he is king of Royal Avenue. And so, if you let him out, he's going to run over to the house where his friend is moving from. And then you got all these people coming and buying up stuff and scared of our hellhounds. So you see how this story can build to epic proportions. Maybe I shouldn't have done my live stream now because I should let the dogs control me. I mean, around here, you don't got to grab one and hold on to it to make it stay. Oh, no. They'll be here. And oh, yeah, did you guys meet my friends? So we've got Black Jesus, but what I always feel like is of primary importance in the Neverending Story is this dude. And if you notice, his hands are tied by rope. And really, there's nothing on his feet. I mean, I could pull the picture up and prove it, but that's redunculous. So his feet are actually on the ground. So a lot of the thing about the Celtic Cross, and that, of course, someone that I do believe in my heart of hearts is a great man that is alive in a physical body, is a friend of mine on Facebook by the name of Crichton Miller. And of course, he is in one of the orders. I don't want to say which one, I'll mess it up. But he holds the patent on the Celtic Cross. And the Celtic Cross is not just a decoration. It's something that actually will tell you where north is, even if the poles shift. And he works with a very easy construction method. If you wound up being honest enough to be this guy's friend, well, he gives the information out. And I can't build one personally, but I do know what a plumb bob is, and I do know what the tools are. But the most important thing about the Celtic Cross is the image of take bloody Jesus down off the cross. See, these dudes aren't displayed in that manner, nor is this guy. But what Crichton said about time, and he's written books and, all sorts of great stuff. I mean, he's an awesome man. He said that the whole idea was that by restricting the entity we know as Jesus, that his feet couldn't be grounded on the earth, nor could his head be in the heavens. And, that makes a lot of sense. Glad you're here forever. Oh, yeah. Crichton does hold the patent, and he is amazing. I have a large, heavy Celtic cross that I made into a jewelry tree. But of course, in the day, they actually moved. It wasn't just a statuary or a tombstone. And of course, Crichton has always been one that as the demons came to attack me, like the Photon Templar Knights, they wanted my head on a spigot and told me, and I didn't even know what my way is, but the dude actually attacked me and said that the way the genome would go on, my way wasn't his way. And I'm like, who are you guys, and what junior rock band are you in? But I did document all the evidence back then. But we'll get back on with this. Okay. The ascription of guilt and the severest punishment to people for what they thought or imagined or were forced to admit having thought or imagined was the achievement of the Inquisition. The function of the Inquisition was to change the opinion of anyone who thought differently from what the church told him. If he refused to alter his beliefs, it was the additional function of the Inquisition to see that he was destroyed. Faith must be persuaded to men and not imposed upon them, said Saint Bernard. Stop it. But he added in his next sentence, yet it would be better that they were coerced by the sword of the magistrate, who bereft not the sword in vain, that they should be suffered to bring many others into their error. Intolerance began in the 12th century and was promoted to both church and state. The state, in the persons of the Count of Toulouse before 1194, the King of Aragon. I read all that. We went over that. How did I wind up lost in the tunnels of time? Pardon me. I know I started there and I had read past John. Okay. All right. We'll pick up here. By 1350, in Carcassonne and Toulouse, the Inquisition had burned 600 persons as heretics for practicing the new sorcery. Trials for witchcraft spread from inquisitor to inquisitor throughout southern France, to south and western Switzerland, and into French Savoy, and northern Italy, and up into the Rhineland. Pope John's permission was reformulated in later bulls and continued operative until 1451, when Pope Nicholas V extended the Inquisitor's authority to deal with all kinds of sorcery, even not manifestly savoring of heresy. Inquisitors were the first to write on witchcraft, including the first vernacular works in French and Spanish. Among others were the Dominican Inquisitors, Nicholas Emmerich, Nicholas Jacquier, Jean Venetti, and Girolamo Visconti. The Malleus Maleficarum, printed around 1486, and the most celebrated of all books on witchcraft, was the work of Jacob Sprenger and Heinrich Kramer, two such inquisitors. It became the first manually to codify the heresy of witchcraft, as including pact, sabbat, and night flight. A belief that there are such things as witches is so essential a part of the Catholic faith that obstinately to maintain the opposite opinion savors of heresy. Well, like you guys all should know by now, I have a scarab that manifested, as well as a sacred stone, which could very possibly come to be known as the Ben stone, or, there is a piece of it missing in a museum. But it could be that. It could be the top of a pyramid. I was told by a woman that cleared negative energy out of the halls of Congress in 1970 that slung crystals that I just lost my train, the dogs and the work. Kind of getting aggravated. I'm going to leave it. Sorry. And there's always things that try to hold us down from doing what we need to do, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad production. And here again, if this is just entertainment, you should probably go somewhere else. This is actual transmutations of energies. I know what I was going to say, dadgummit. So, doesn't it make sense now that Holly, the woman that cleared the energy from the halls of Congress, said that the meteorite was crammed together by celestial forces? It is a meteorite. It does meet the criteria. It is only magnetized in certain areas. It does have elements that are not from this planet. And I'll go get it. That's what I was going to hop up and do. So it all comes flying back at me now. All right, now where I'm going to leave you while I go get the stone and the scarab is it something that we have to tag and we have to bring together and we have to deal with. The concept of heresy of witchcraft was frankly regarded as a new invention, both by the theologians and by the public. Now, if you've seen my videos that I've done on this book called Dynamic Freedoms, I'll give you the background on that. My great uncle Charlie was in the Navy in World War II. He was a big whoop-de-doo. He was a Bauer, B-A-U-E-R. I'm pretty sure, Bauer. And he lived to almost be 100 years old. Very healthy man. His wife, Aunt Edna, was the one that was going to tell me about all the family secrets. But she got the Alzheimer's. And of course, I was getting poked, like I told you, in one of the illustrious members of Boyd that entertains demons about all sorts of little things like that. But they also brought up other family members. So anyhow, my Uncle Charlie was a 33 and a third flippin' Scottish Rite, Freemason, yakety squack. And of course, they're in the Rothschilds family line. Are you high? But what does that have to do with poor old me? And so, see here again, guilty by association. Now, in this book, I'm going to whoop that ass. In this book, they actually call family member names. And I think another show needs to be devoted to reading every one of the flippin' family's names, because I'll bet you dollar down with the whole 6 degrees of separation stuff, which is real, that surely anybody that you know, take your whole social group and play a game and say, I wonder how many of these people had kin that were burned as witches that are now Catholic, calling somebody a witch. I mean, it could be a lot. And of course, the more I was thinking about this with this whole hoopla taking place in England, well, don't you know, the Glasscocks will wind up popping up in England too. And, England had the first cops and detectives. And my dad's a cop. But I almost forgot the main subject of that. Look what's right here on the flippin' front of the daggum book. Here, see it? Free enterprise, an American invention. Okay, now, if the heresy is an invention and the freedom's an invention, and they get a bunch of people over here, which they shouldn't have been in the first place without invitation, and they say, you're a witch, you're a witch, you're a witch. Let's burn all you bitches to the ground. Basically, that's what happened. And that is the real story. Good grief. Now, I really have to hold that video so you can see it, but I'm going to play you another Key of Awesome, and I'm going to lock this daggum hellhound in a bedroom upstairs because the old man's out locked up so he doesn't scare people. Damn. We're on a 3-minute break. This is episode 79, and of course it's the Hunger Games. I don't know if I can do anything for you. I can't believe it. If you guys don't think that the forces are messing with me, bunch of bullshit. That doesn't help. What? I fucking had it.
Sorry about that. I don't get to eat enough, but somehow I'm totally rough. You were engaged to Miley C, so you might carry an STD. Come on, Katniss, please pick me. I made myself look like a tree. Marry the tree or your family dies. You are hate when people set me up with God. Peter is hella cute, but Gail's a golden fruit.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of mean ones.
Evil Santa has blood breath. He laughs when kids fight to the death. His name is Snow cause he's not hot.
No Skype, baby. Because they were really hacking people through there.
God, you're bigger, wuss than Prim. You're such a damsel in distress. Maybe you should be the one in the flame.
I know. This happens to me 24/7 forever. It happens forever, all the time. Spooks? Check that out, forever. Good grief.
Thanks for watching the Key of Awesome.
Click the link in the description below to see the rest
See
of
the
Key of
scarab?
Awesome videos.
And check us out on Google Plus.
And my name is Kristen, and this is my first Key of Awesome video.
I didn't know you could say that last part, so now it's yours. That's good.
First Key Awesome video.
No, she's great.
She is great. She's in on it with y'all, I know.
Adorable.
Whatever. See, this is what I'm talking about. How all these things, there is somebody that is interacting with me. It's not a con job, but everybody thinks it's a con job. It's like, shit. It's like an IQ test for people to see what they believe to be real and who can they talk to and trust, because remember, you can't trust nobody. Okay, so you see the scarab, we got that. We might not be able to do serious reading. We might just have to be silly or something. I'm not sure. Because that's going to piss me off. I wanted to get something for you guys. What the heck was it? Doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. It does matter, too. Because, of course, when people deny a phenomena that's right in their face, sometimes you gotta shock them a little, I guess. Okay, so back to meteorites. If any of you find people, and I will answer these questions forever, when you look up the meteorite stories, they'll go into what's a fake and what's not, because guess why there's so many fake meteorites out on the daggum market? I told this story 5 years ago, and they buried me so deep that they thought Red Dead would be dead forever. But see, Red Dead got resurrected in this flippin' video game. And so now we're back to how so many fraudulent videos have circulated, and it's all through the video gaming community. Is supposed to stay their happy ass in their own place, but oh no. They took old games that they weren't using no more and Jimmy rigged them, is the best words that a simple girl like me has. Okay, so you really shouldn't touch this, because not only are there radioactive elements, but there are unknown elements. So just like in the book here, see, they tell you you're not supposed to mess with the unknown. But if the unknown comes to mess with you, well, what do? Well, most people run, or most people get medicated, or most people lose their minds or can't work with a pair of scissors. That's irrelevant. It's about what I've done. And it was my choice. And that's why I say I was aware, but there's no way I could know which way it would take off because there's someone interacting with me. And I won't say there's only one. I keep telling you, there's two dudes, and we're telepathically mind linked up together. So when you listen to these horseshit stories that are going around the community and you hear these vile, hateful things and act like I'm having a twosome with a couple weirdos, that is not what's going on. Now, if I emit love just by being me, and I'm sending it to a divine creator being I call God, and they all get in there and suck off it. Remember that whole teat story and all those little monsters? These are the demons and the parasites that have been sucking off of my, not only my energy, but my trust, my love, my faith, all the things they don't have because they're very flippin' hungry, even though they're white as a house. They don't get good nutrition. Okay, so back to the stone. I can touch it because it came to me. I already know that they have lied to us about what health is and how people get ill. So I'm not going to be afraid. I will always wash my hands. Now, it should not be magnetized everywhere. Okay. So, like you can see, the magnet's going to fall off. Okay. Because I know where it's magnetized because it's my stone. So, we're going to come over here into the deposits. Oh, look at that. Okay. See the magnet? You can't knock it off. This proves it's a meteorite. Now, you got this scientific community and all these big whoop-de-doos that are really dorks. You know how you tell your left hand from your right hand, right? Okay, so they had a script, they got paid, they were going to fake it till they make it. And if there's one thing I can't stand is a faker. So that's why they tell me to lighten up and kind of like, it's all a joke. It's all a joke. Well, see, this all wasn't a joke. This was not only a genocide, but it was a democide. So a genocide, of course, you know, you think of war or bombs or acts of God. But a democide is a death by government. Everybody cries about it, you know, everybody hurts. But the whole thing of the church and the state never being separated, and here again, my family held a land patent in 1643 and was here before 1776. And as I'm doing all this research, it's like, well, no wonder the Glasscocks had to skedaddle over to the safety of here, or were already here because they had already said this. I don't know which one. There's very few Glasscocks, you know. They were all killed. And it's true. And then I got people making fun of me. And, you know, it wasn't easy to grow up with the name Glasscock. I mean, you don't know how hard it is to have this real big, long name that everybody's going to go, you can't get to heaven with red hair because the Lord don't want no fire up there. I mean, it really is a blessing to have this book. And you know, to not have it be anything scary is just awesome to me. So, Forever Conscious Research Channel has a question. And I didn't have a chance to dive into the Elvis thing on your channel much, but I'm very curious on what you found when you have a brief moment. No rush. How sweet. So, You got to realize, I guess we'll have to take this in trimesters. We'll go that way. We're going to do 1 year, and I'll talk short on it. Year 2, short on it. And this year would be year 3. So our first year is 2017. We have to get specific now. And in the Neverending Story, I trusted many people that were not true to who they were. And I had to be innocent enough to walk into it. That was part of what has happened. And so there's a dude that supposedly handles the World Trust, him and Kim, whoever the hell she is. But you see, it's a fund for all the people to save the world. But they can't get the funds released forever. They got issues. And so this started over a decade ago. And then you have to wind up going back and seeing these fools. We're all in a hub together. And when I say these fools, it goes back as far as Sasha Stone, his own self, who I think was kind of like a push for the transgender community. He was male, but he always wore V-neck t-shirts. Very hot. Like if you wear a round collar, like girls that wear round neck collars like this, they're kind of boy shirts. V-necks are usually for girls for their cleavage, you see. But, he wore these shirts, and he wasn't a bad-looking dude. And he had a little commune. He looked kind of dirty a little bit, And here were all these women that in the Neverending Story come to find out, and I mean this serious, I'm not making a joke, are most probably the 3 witches from the story when I'm 18 years old. And I go to see a psychic for the first time. She's very Christian. She has paintings like this in her living room. And she told me that these 3 witches had put a curse on me before I was born. And that if I paid her $25, she could remove the curse. And I needed to bring her son some Levi's and some underwear. What do you think? You think I ever went back? Hell no. But I always carried it with me. So, here over a decade ago, we got these 2 blonde witches and 1 dark-headed witch. Hola? So, anyhow, 2 blondes and a brunette, but technically the one bleached her hair. So isn't that funny how the spell casting works? So they'll probably shrivel up and cackle if I say their names. I think it's funny. So let's just go with these names because they're all aliases. I'm not narking no bitch out because the first one I'll bring up, Danny, she's also awesome hooker. And she's also somebody else. And I'm the bitch for calling her out. No wonder she's not talking much anymore. But she is. She runs the Unfuckers group. Long time YouTube and Facebook Intel Hub. And no other than Randy Moggins, who brought me and interviewed me first. And that's his alias too. Because he's also totally Tucker. And I can also tell you he's Tom Rust. He doesn't really know that he's all 3 of those fragmented pieces. Somebody stole his damn identity or knocked him out on the head with a boulder like I've been illustrating. And they forget. If you follow the Blue Chicken story, Corey Good is going to be completely, like where he doesn't remember nothing in the next 5 years. And they're calling it placement dementia. Placement dementia. Well, a lot of people have lost their minds online, and you can see why. So you see, now it's all my fault because when I came online, Well, I didn't know anything, and they were data hacking me and calling me a data hacker. That's rich, isn't it? And in the meantime, you got the fun being siphoned and, all the money being stolen and the banks going berserk and me having all the documentation and paperwork and nobody cares. I'm irrelevant. This was like, how far could she get? And they made bets on everything. So, back to the whole Elvis story. Oh, wait, I didn't call the other two witches out. So you got Mel V of Conscious Consumer Network, which is now debunked, which was siphoning money and calling them donations and putting a backdoor in my damn computer with their Team Viewer app and taking over my computer. This started in the summer of 2016. But Mel is no other than a skank on YouTube by the name of Ms. Fucking Wonderful, but she puts a U. She changes the U to a V. She's got 4 channels. She's so special. And gets all the free shit, See, this has all been about stealing everybody's money. All of us. I mean, I don't even shop online. Imagine if you shop online. But they were doing it through a very elaborate dance that had been set up allegedly worldwide. But by the time you get on Boyd, all these highfaluters that you think are in other countries are just voice actors with different accents. And these bitches are Hoosiers that live in trailers. And that's why they're pissed off at me for living in the ghetto in a house where I'm controlled by the Vatican. Oh, shit, they were in it the whole damn time. I figured them all out. Now, like I said, it wasn't without help. So, Elvis represents so many things to so many people. And if you can twist people and hurt them using a good-looking man that everybody loves, isn't that wonderful? I mean, think about the power in that punch, right? So, at the end of 2016, I forgot the brunette witch too. Dadgummit, her name is Lisa Harrison. So we got Danny, Mel, and Lisa. And Lisa Harrison was giving out messages to the droves from Lilu, the artificial intelligence on the computer. Now, from the time I had my experience, they were on me like shit on a stick. And I didn't really know. I can't be everywhere at once, remember? And I don't have a broom. So, they all had to get their stories, like Sophia the AI, or Lilu, or whatever the heck. But I was calling the entity that engaged me even before I got online and pulled me in. I called him Mr. Computerhead. Now, for 2014 and 2015, the bitch is Mr. Computerhead, right? But at the end of 2016, Randy's friend, Thomas Williams of the Truth, Honor, and Integrity show. And you know what's weird about him? He looks just like my dead brother-in-law, Brent. And from the first time I saw his damn picture, I was like, that looks like Brent, man. That's how deviant this game has been. And he's ordering me around and telling me I'm wrong. Now, when I'm in his little private club, here comes the story out of the cauldron that Elvis is alive. Now that is, like I said, let's get this right. It's at the end of 2016. So you see I'm walking into 2017, right? And as I am walking in that portal, well, shit, I go to a channel here on YouTube by the name of SKMI, all capital letters. And the story he's slinging is that there's these two old preacher men, but see, it's really only one guy. I had to tell his kooky ass there was two of them. Then he picks it up and runs with it like he knew it. But back then, the reason why I put nice comments in is one, because I loved Elvis. So what? I wasn't in a fan club. I didn't drool over, hot looking guys and rock bands. I don't know what these clowns are up to, but the two old men are religious preacher men. And there is a whole world of Boyd built on the death cult. And that means getting money saying your aunt's dying of cancer, or that there's a ghost at your door that needs some money. And it is a ritual of sucking life out of people, like what we've talked about, CW Dum Dum. You see? So the bigger these channels are, the more influence they have, and the more they can lose energy. I'm not saying all of them do. I didn't say that. But I'm saying that's the truth. And that's why they are cults. And that's why they needed to shut me up. And that's why Channer said that instead of Corey Good running the cult, that surely he should. And that's why he's a Commonwealth Channer. So here I am. And I'm seeing this story. This is in the beginning of January 2017. That someone that had a DNA match to Elvis Presley was found dead under the overpass in California, IA. Well, whichever one was alive, SKMI had been saying that he is, or is the bastard love child of one of the two Elvi. It's a great story. Now, if you think about it, from 77 until the current time, think about how many controversies have surrounded this man. I mean, one minute, he works for the DEA and is narking out his frenzy parties with, and he does pills. That sounds like a great guy, doesn't it? Hey, what about the guy that goes over and picks up the 14-year-old chick in Germany, but her old man is a big general dude, and they're letting hot pants hang out with their little girl. Okay, so you got to realize that general was a psyop, and they had only been in Germany a few months before Mr. Presley arrived to serve his country. In the meantime, you've got another story coming out of right field, which would be that Elvis knew the truth about JFK's murder. So he faked his death. And hey, come on. You can't tell me that fine-ass looking man is the big, fat, sweaty one at the end that can't remember his own music. I don't care how high he is or how stupid at that point. These songs live in him. But oh, they got another story, don't they? Think about it. And then the story comes up that it was actually a doppelganger that was dying, that was the fat one that lived in the house, that croaked in the bathroom. Okay, now we're into the Jesus story real quick, because there's some people that want to believe whatever they believe about Jesus' blood saving them. So whether it was Jesus' doppelganger or Jesus' twin or Jesus the dude, somebody had the contract to get killed, you see? All right, I'm not looking at the chat because I got to get through this first year and then I will look. So we got these two old big-bellied preacher men that go by the name of Bob Joyce. Well, I don't mean I met him like, how you doing, Bob? On YouTube, what I came to know from studying the man, Bob Joyce, he don't want none of these jackasses talking shit on him. He asked him time and time and time and time, again, to knock it off. I think he's a prophet. Does he sound like Elvis? Ah, now we're at the mind control, my friends. Because they claim there's only one voice that could sound like Elvis. Get it? And now we know it's as simple as pushing a button and going boogie, boogie, boogie. And you can make your voice sound like anybody's, maybe even mine, which is twisted. All right. So, by April, Forever Conscious. By April. Now, this SKMI had actually entered into my computer and downloaded what you would call FIOA papers, you know, the unofficial, disclosed, and official, and this and that, and the birth certificates and the blacked out things, and you know, the twin story. So see, Elvis supposedly had a twin, which is Jesse, who was buried in a shoebox. And then there was Clayton, the twin that nobody knew about, that went to Europe. So see, when I come forward with all these different pictures that I call Adams, I call them Adam. Then I'm looking at it like this is a family that's spread across the world. Oh, people got pissed because to me, America had really disrespected Elvis's memory and made him out to be a pervert, pill popping, fat ass, controlled, psyoped little bitch that wears a cape and a polyester suit. And I got hot. I don't mean like excited sexually, I mean pissed. And so, in the meantime, SKMI Michael Skutnik had put all this on my computer, and I did not ask him to. All I wanted was one picture of Clint Eastwood as a young man on a miniature pony. It was an old picture that he had. CSKMI had all the pictures. And so in April, we got this Elvis. We got two things going on. SKMI is telling me that Elvis is coming out from behind the curtain at Graceland Easter of 2017. And that him and Priscilla are going to get back together. Now, in the meantime, as a remote viewer, they're throwing me images of Graceland and these other fat guys that could also be Elvis that aren't Bob Joyce. They're garden keepers. I'm seeing them spellcast and seeing parasites on the trees and the ground opening up. It sounds like a bad acid trip, but it's what happened and I documented it. And there's no reason to deny this because every bit of this, they have built a case that I am a fucking witch. And that's why this case has not seen the public eye because you find out in the book they don't do that. Isn't that funny? I'm not laughing. And like I knew I was in the court from hell defending my family's honor. What the? Okay. So I'm seeing these terrible satanic overtones on Graceland. I'm seeing parasites on the Elvi because at that time we have a couple different older men. And see, Elvis had him a chickenpox scar right here. This is the story. And then you see these other dudes and they got the scar a little lower and a little lower and over here. So anyhow, remember, if you got any marks on you, you're a witch. Well, in the meantime, here comes the one that I know as Adam. Now, this is the official story. And I will swear, I already have. I've sworn to the cosmos. I don't need no earthly judge, you see. And every word I say is really important. So this one Elvis with dark hair pops up in a GIF of where he's coming out of the water in France. You know, and remember, SKMI said the one's coming out at Easter. Okay, so here comes the young one with dark hair coming up out of the water. And here's what he says to me. He says, aha, I figured it out first. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because this SKMI can't really speak English very good. And if you go to his channel, you can hear him speak in French and get a look at his personality. And here's what I say about SKMI. He is kin to the Sandro lineage, not to Elvis. Because, see, SKMI got locked in a castle because he's kind of like this. You know what I mean? But if you go and watch him, he is very manly. He ain't playing no games. He is a big strapping dude. And his hair goes straight up just like Elvis, too. And he's got this big smile like a Cheshire cat. And he can do his thing. So he has characteristics of Elvis. I won't deny that at all. But back then, he showed me his image, not as the man SKMI that you see when you go to the channel. Oh, no. You see him showing himself as a multidimensional being. He's an artist. He paints. And he really loves his music collection. And he loved me. And I loved him as a person. See, love means different things to different guys. And I've been accused of a lot of things with love. So, anyhow, the one pops out of the water, says, I figured it out first. And I'm like, blow me sideways, you did not. Somehow, he lured me to chase him to the channel Mr. A.P., which is the home of Adam, A-D-E-M, Presley. That's why I use the word Adam. Because like I told you in this story, nobody's using their real name. And think about it. If you have hundreds of incarnations, how many names you would have? And then think what the name Adam signifies. You can think of Adam, the first man. You can think of a molecule, a building block, a life, atom. I mean, I think that these are guys. See, that's the other thing. Don't tell me that these kings don't have sons. Give me a break. So you got all these kids that have to be in hiding so they don't get killed. And if you're a twin, you're really super twisted, right? So whether it's Elvis we're talking about or whether it's Adam, you're dealing with twins. And then we learned yesterday about remember, the nice God and his twin, the other dude. You know, they're pissed off and they're shy and they don't have no damn words and leave me hanging here, and the bitches don't even pay me. I can't make a wood nickel on YouTube, but all these con artists just seem to be abundant in money and resource. So you get the story. See, the story is building. And I didn't make this story up. I didn't even believe in fairy tales. I had a very dark, gloomy childhood, and I have talked about these things. So don't tell me I'm no damn princess. And that really kind of jerks my chain, because being who I am in the story, you see, well, I have to live a life of poverty and be an old hag and die homeless on the streets. Talk about bringing a story to life. And, you know, I'm broke and I'm tired. And I'm on my Saturn return. So these fuckers better get to showing up. I don't care who they are. They come, they tell me the truth. I don't hate on them. I'm not going to talk shit on them. They say they're my family. And I never had a family here. So, you know, that's where you got to say, blow me sideways and have a nice day. And I'm going to live my life and talk. All right, so he says, I figured it out first. Fuck you, Suze. Okay. I chase him over to Adam's channel. And the voice that's coming out of that channel and those pictures, well, they don't match SKMI's. And I thought Europe, was this and that and good and bad. And that I thought America was like a great place where you're supposedly free. And then you find out, nah. See, they built a big fence around you with your ego. And you're an experiment. And you go, That's why people's consciousness is kind of like crumbling. It's just so much. But sure as shit, we will reset. I couldn't have come this far and that not happen. And if any doubter out there would like to bring their case, I wish they'd hurry up because they're slowing shit down for everybody, not just, their little world. Oh, all right. So I'm over at Adams. And then I get romanced and like taken around the world and shown all these concerts in these sacred sites and these beautiful places. And that's why I say I've seen the whole, not just the earth, the heavens. And I was taken by Mr. Computerhead, also known as the King of Whoop-de-Fuck, around to see all of this. And I did those shows, so they're very confusing. But when you document something current time as it is happening, instead of 5 years later when I'm dead, like in the witch book, you see, if I would have gotten that far, we go over extensive lives of families that, well, they apologize 5 years later. You know what? I've lived that incarnation too many times. And now I know I got an airtight legal case because when you call somebody a witch and they're not, and they're a historic figure down through time that's been shit on time and time again, oh, and now they can tell if you got the real sparkle or not. Shit. That's what I told people 5 years ago. So, that, my friend, is 2017 in a nutshell, except for the biggest damn part. Now we're at the end of 2016 again. We did all of 2017 with a relationship that I was honest about wanting to be a friend, and they're calling me like I got a crush on this old ass man. It's like you must be the guys that don't believe a female can be friends with a male. And I highly disagree. I've had a lot of male friends that I don't engage sexually. A lot of great mentors and teachers that I wasn't sucking their dick or their ass. So that really offends my spirit. Okay. Trump's pre-political campaign videos with these Elvi in the background and Trump saying hi to them and they're saying hi to him. They are in Illuminati suits. They are singing creepy ass Jesuit songs or something. And the whole thing was a nightmare from hell. Very, very confusing if you think of, well, if I think of who I think Elvis is. I think Elvis is a smart guy that escaped the country and took whoever his real family was. I'm not here to argue about that. And they all went silent. They all played dead. They all relocated. Whatever. Elvis never quit working for the government. And I think that the reason why I have a picture of that Elvis with Donald Trump and it says The Apprentice is back, I think that's because behind the scenes, Elvis, oh yeah, I said it, Elvis runs the show. And Trump's his bitch apprentice, tag it. And that's why I also said that to me, allegorically speaking, since we've been in hell ever since this all started, that Trump is the Antichrist. And that's why some people say that he will be the last president. I'll tell you what, if anybody's stupid enough to think that there is going to be this kind of system happen again after this debauchery that's been seen global. I mean, now you see why they're trying to implode it and shut it down. I mean, it's the stupidest damn thing, but I feel really blessed to be involved in it and try to clear karma that innocent people lost their lives over because of animalistic wannabe meat wearing suit Sanhedrin shills. We've all had the assholes in our family. And we are all one family, but not the ones that were opposers to begin with. And, I believe the hierarchies have always had the ability to shapeshift. So, like in Dogma, I mean, you got Loki and Bartleby in there, a couple of fine-ass looking men. Sometimes they have wings, sometimes they don't. They can get killed. And allegedly, they don't transubstantiate because they broke God's law. Anybody that tries to prove God fallible suffers an immense ringing of their ears and explodes in Dogma when Alanis Morissette gives one of the guys that wants to fuck her a kiss on the cheek. And she stands on her head at a tree. And Jesus' cousin, who took on the stigmata, there right in front of your face in the movie, when God, the guy that was caught in the meat suit and was in ICU from getting beat up by the demons. Then Jesus' cousin becomes pregnant and she didn't lay with a man. And that's the end of the movie. And the buddy Jesus, I don't have one of him, but you've seen him in media. He's got his thumb up and a big smile, and he kind of looks like a stoner. No one will ever know until number one says so. How these false media images were manufactured and by who. It is not illegal since 2013, so no one is going to jail. It was entertainment. That's why I say that we can no longer.
The dog chained to the ground.
You know what? He would have went over there and ruined Dan's shopping party. I can't suffer that.
Thanks. How are you? How are you? How are you? Hello.
I'm vegan.
I think we need to have our first shark cartoon. Because it's good.
How's it feel?
Okay. So we want to go to my channel if you're following along. We go to the playlist section.
It's a little bit better.
Is that right?
It's a little bit better, right?
That's wrong. Usually it would be that way, but you know, these trolls were so bad on me. They were watching my playlist to build their shows around. I shut down my playlist after I regained my channel. It's private, but I don't retain the history anymore. So if I want to watch something later, that's private and these bitches can't watch. Or they could watch but not be sure. I'm not really sure. In the meantime, like I said, they cannot just purvey my TV guide for any given day, which is what they were doing. Okay, so we got to go to my Facebook page and get over to YouTube. So let me just cut through the alley. That's why I'm in trouble. I cut through. Okay, so we just go to any one of the videos that we've been featuring over the last 2 days, which is the Kia Awesome. Click on that, wind up at the Key of Awesome channel right here. Go to the playlist, and you'll see that he has, well, you always have your liked videos first. And then there's one called the Key of Awesome. That would be the music, because these guys play rock band for real, and he's got a badass Stratocaster that I know nothing about, but he loves it, and it's cherry red. We have the Kia Awesome Unplugged. There's Hair Emporium Unplugged, so you better tag that. Best of Obama Girl Season 1. The Key of Awesome Season 1. Both of those are there. I mean, this is all their stuff. The Key of Awesome Season 1. Kia Awesome music videos, behind the scenes comments. I'm sure that's worth looking at. Frank Ruin's movie trailers, song rants, jams, in the booth, KOA's best, Reggae Shark Adventures, 1 video. Reggae Shark Season 1, 3 episodes. And then there's Behind the Awesome and 10 Years on YouTube. And it goes on and on. Mr. A.P. Adam Presley, the king of all this international hoopla, has been singing songs out of his face since 1998. That's also why C.W. Stupid did his 20 and Back program, not only in 2018 when they were raking me over the coals, but this year too. And guess what? They were so sad at Halloween. You should see his last show. Completely stupid. In the meantime, he not only deleted all the slanderous things he said about me, because like I told you, they can go in and edit and work with videos. It's not a big deal when you're working on a video game system. He not only deleted all that, but he said he's destroying the 2019 to 1999 playlist. It's like, yeah, you had all the evidence on there, dummy. But they already had it from the time he made it. The network, like I keep talking about the network. And you want to know who runs media? Sandro. Sandro. Roberto Sanchez, the Don. Sandro says I'm his cousin, and he admires my passion not only for life, but to want to know the truth. And so he's responsible for all this as the media expert he wanted me to know. This is the Reggae Shark. So, Kia Awesome, gather around and listen to the tale of the misunderstood Reggae Shark.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. That was great. Well, at least one of us was.
Insurance sucks.
Gonna tell you the story of a reggae shark. There are hundreds of sharks living under the sea. A great white hammerheads and white tip reefs. But the one shark discovery always leave out is the dreadlock rasta fish I'm talking about. Reggae shark, he's real. Reggae shark, he's got a band with the seals. Oh, reggae shark, don't want to harm ya. Reggae shark, just want ya ganja. Reggae shark, after dark, reggae shark come cruising. Some say reggae shark part human. It was cursed by an evil jelly witch. Didn't have no reason, she was just a bitch. Some kids were
You better tag it.
smoking a spliff. Reggae shark swam over to ask for a hit. The kids start screaming and one of them drowned. Now the sheriff and his posse gonna hunt him down. Reggae shark got no political agenda. Reggae shark, he just wants redemption. Reggae shark, and he also wants ganja. But you can't light the spliff when you live underwater. When they a drop boat and the drop its load, reggae shark come along and him ate its whole. Now he's starving like Marvin, got the munchies. Then him see the evil sheriff and all his flunkies. He put his fins in the air, said it wasn't his fault. But the sheriff set fire and the rifle shot. But it was just a shark decoy tied to a raft. Cause the reggae shark's a master of the arts and crafts. Reggae shark, he jumped on the boat, and the sheriff fell down his throat. The townspeople cheered and said, you brought us peace. You took
See?
the fight of corruption in the town police.
There's always a
They drove
solution.
a huge ticker tape parade. Cause they know that the balance is the food chain. They gave him the key to Kingston town. You should see the tourism it brings in now. You've redeemed yourself, said the jelly witch. We can reverse that curse and grant your wish. Him looked at the witch and he said, nay, cause I'm a reggae shark and that's the way I'll stay. Reggae shark, reggae shark, reggae shark. Reggae shark, reggae shark, reggae shark. The key of awesome.
Hey, thanks for watching the Key of Awesome. If you want to see all the other Key of Awesomes, click in the link in the description. And I want to thank the Reggae Shark for being in this video. Thanks for sharing your story.
And I want to thank the Key of Awesome for having us.
So is there like a channel where they can hear some more of your songs?
No, you know I go channel. There ain't no internet connection underwater. But you can buy this here song on iTunes. Other than that, if you want to hear my music, just go down to Jamaica and get in the water and follow the sound. You'll hear me giving a free concert for the people, the sea people.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense. Let me check out the chat. Oh, why am I trying to stop it now? It's on automatic. See, it's a playlist.
And all the children cry, reggae shark. Can't believe you left. You break our hearts. You showed us no respect.
He got me up in legend and not so much. That was the hit single to Nicki Minaj. He did a couple movies and he's on TV. And now he always holds that prescription weed.
Yeah, man, we take 400 pounds of that purple brain pillow. Get his own reality show. Meanwhile, back home, there's barracudas abusing the coast. Oh no, Reggae Shark's movie received terrible reviews. They said Reggae Shark has jumped himself. He
him got so depressed he went and drank a whole booze cruise. Got his reflection and thought, what's become of you?
What did you say?
That's my
What
old
was that?
nemesis. She said, I've been in here the whole time, controlling your tiny great white mind. We can sit past the witch and smile back home, saying, hey, Barracuda, sleep if you want to know. They said, no, so we smoked them for an hour, which gave him super munchy power.
Munchy power. Go to Barracuda's, the party was through.
World
Ate them
sex
all and had
record.
funyuns too.
World sex record. Wait.
Jasmine St. Clair.
This is
Wait a
our
second.
favorite song.
Wait a second.
She has had
Wait a
more
second.
gifted styler
Wait.
than anyone,
Wait, we got an update.
than any female.
Who? What did you say about sex? She's the. What did you say?
This woman, Jasmine, whatever, is claiming to be the most fucked girl in the world. And
Yeah.
she's like 20 something. She's late 20s.
There's a 20-year-old
She's a
girl.
porno star.
She's a late 20s porno star named Jasmine.
She's not even 30, and she's claimed that she's been fucked more times than anybody's been fucked. I mean, that's a terrible way to say it, but that's kind of what she's claiming.
We better tag all the pornography online and in this story.
It's
And
on Jerry Springer.
it's on Jerry Springer, y'all, right now. St. Louis TV. What channel, Joe? 11? I'm sure you guys aren't in St. Louis. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, see how the topic of sex just reeks through this whole thing? The witchcraft, the who put a spell on who?
Cockalotomus.
Yeah, cockalotomus. Right, that's a great one. Joe's got some words.
Fucking cock in me.
Joe's got a lot of words, mind you. All right, let's get back to our entertainment because
More dick.
I got too much action going on and we're not going to survive this much longer. I'm reading the chat. Why won't reggae? Why
It's
won't you?
dick and cider.
Look, I'm trying to get my show back on.
I thought it was a family drink.
Yeah, that dead air time will kill your views every time. All right. Kick back up. Playing with me.
That's a brand name.
Now look, we're watching Reggae Shark.
That's a brand name.
No, Reggae Shark's a cartoon by the Key of Awesome.
I'm saying Dickens is a brand name.
Of Jasmine?
Yeah, Dickens cider. It's a drink.
They said, no, so we smoked them for an hour, which gave him super munchy power.
Go to Barracuda's, the party was through. Ate them all and had funyuns too. Reggae Shark. This is our favorite song. Reggae Shark, he'll never part. 'Twas the jelly witch all along. Reggae Shark. Reggae Shark. Where is that jelly bitch? Jelly bitch, she stole my car.
So long, potheads. I'll be back, Reggae Shark, when you least expect it.
Okay, well, Naomi will be expecting it because you said that. You know, I and I would not be surprised.
You know what I mean? It's just an expression.
Hey, thanks for watching The Key of Us. And I want to thank the Reggae Shark for letting us once again sing a song about his life.
Yeah, man, no problem.
And be sure to watch the original Reggae Shark video. on
Welcome,
this channel.
Sailor Twins. Do it the right way.
T-shirts. Oh, well, funny you should ask.
I heard of y'all.
Now, Reggae Shark. If you click on the link in the description, you can buy one for yourself.
You have to pay for your own t-shirt.
Yeah.
So there ain't no royalty in tea.
I mean, I guess we can give you one T-shirt. We got mouths to feed. You know what it's like.
Oh, yeah, man.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Also, don't forget you can buy this
Right,
song
y'all
and
gotta pay for
previous
Corey
Reggae
Good.
Shark song on iTunes.
Thanks for watching.
Out, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Please, get back in the water. This probably isn't good for you.
Living, loving. I really enjoyed your phone call. Oh, shh.
Come on, everybody,
Forever. Hang on, baby. Okay. I know you got to split forever. Now, seriously, you got a lot of things to say, and I feel like I'm leaving you hanging because we covered the year 2017, I would hope, and you've got all those videos of mine on YouTube to go watch now. Talk about a trip. But anyhow, in the late summer, early fall, this is very important, of 2017, I'm finding out all the tricks they can do with video. I'm finding out that everything is two-way video communication with third-party intervention or listening, which makes sense to me. People talk on cell phones for years and don't know what they're doing. It's funny. I never had a cell phone, so I had open eyes. Well, then I learned about Sandro. So in the summer of 2017, ongoing, I'm learning all about beautiful Sandro and the silk robe. And then we get into media, culture, universal music, how few people actually write the songs, all the hoopla about who owns the music industry. In an answer to the thing as far as Colonel Parker, see, that's all a psyop too, because Elvis was the first person, the genius, the maestro, the member of the family that knew that even though he had to sign that bullshit contract with the devil, well, as long as he was photographing his own concert or taping it or having his friend or his lover or his cousin or his nephew, those are his pictures. That is his music. So when they said that you were listening to bootleg Elvis, bullshit. He actually got his own money for that crap. Not that it's crap, but you see what I'm saying. It is about taking somebody's stuff and prostituting it and turning it into crap. And then he has to wait all these years to go, I fooled you, son of a bitches. That is really what I feel like is going on. So that's my answer to that. Now, keep in mind, Good and Wilcock are just like all the other actors that, number one, and I'm going to say it's the evil twin side of number one, hired to do all these jobs while the other one was luring me in, because the evil one can't be the one to lure a person in. It has to be the good one. Otherwise, they'd be lying. And then you get into the whole mishigash and confusion. And since they both share the same experience, they get a little pissy. And in the meantime, there's some very behind the scenes things where all these men have what they call their Hollywood wives and their real wives. And we get into all that. And we're into a lot of other things. But also, in that year is when I guess you have to acknowledge what they'd want to call witchcraft or demonology. But like we read, there were certain countries that were swept up into it and others that knew it was a joke. So where Sandro hangs out, he knew what they had done was made it all into a joke. But you're talking about a man that is more than human. Now we're into the ET side of things. The whole war between aliens and extraterrestrials is another subject and forever conscious research. Okay, now I would love
Oh
to.
my God, with the siren. Shut them off. Fuck.
We deal with it every day. That's how much war we're in. So I would love to do a collaboration with you, no doubt. The hackers were highly working through Google Hangouts and that stupid place where they tried to trap me in the newer one. I did a video on that too. It's about getting people trapped in green rooms and messing with them. A lot of porn goes on there, a lot of trafficking, prostituting, and harvesting. And so I'm not saying it's all like that. I'm saying we must clean it up so we are all free to engage in all of these platforms. When Zoom came on, they claimed to have the highest security and the best this and all of that. But every one of those people that I caught along the way playing Susie Police Girl were misusing Zoom. No different than Patreon was not supposed to allow vulgarity. It was supposed to be a very high moral ethical platform. But you got Chanter jacking off and collecting money there. So you see, when I was attacked from all sides, which has been ongoing for 3 years, in my face, but my whole life, and that's how I knew what it was, I had to get very still and I had to stay safe until they come for me. So the only thing that I've done lately is YouTube and Facebook, because see, when they hacked me, they hacked into my Gmail through the third-party app, which is YouTube. So any of these third-party apps are highly suspicious, except for, I will say this. Along the way, number one created things. Like while I'm busy doing one thing over here, these two nuts are doing a whole other thing. So they're going to tell you which app is safe. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I know. We have so many drums here. I guess it is a war drum, huh? That's kind of like the whole idea of slaying. You know, slaying can be done in love or it can be done in retribution. And I think that that's why these four faces of God represented in living men that got their fortunes stolen during the Inquisition. I mean, that's what it's looking like. So why the fuck would any of them care? They can have their cake and eat it too. But at the end of the game, when the director says cut, what do they want to do with these resources? Because they can't take them with them. Do you want to save the worms? Well, no, not really. You don't want to save the worms. It's not good for the real people. So they came up with an elaborate ruse that has taken more than 20 years. They said I was late. If you get there and do your job before the stroke of midnight, does it count or does it not? Can the corporations be flipped around to do what Gerald Celente talks about. Gerald Celente is founder of the Trends Research Institute. Some people like him, some people he drives them nuts. I dig him. And I read his book before 2000. I always used and worked with those concepts and ideas at the Hair Emporium. I called him on the phone and said, "Can I use your material?" And his secretary said yes. So when you ask, how are we going to fix things? Sure as shit, I can point you in the general direction of people that have already covered that subject that I agree with. So if you make me irrelevant, then you make them irrelevant to the people that are listening. Whereas if you don't know me, but you know them, well, then you get all caught up in left, right, up, down, stock markets, crypto, politics, papers. I mean, it's more of a left brain train of thought. And we need left brain analytical in an equal energetic exchange that is positive to the emotional feeling right side of the brain, the intuitive. See, leaving, loving. It's really hard when you get lied to and they tell you you're the only thing in the universe. But you're taught in church that there's this whole invisible hierarchy. You're supposed to fear the shit out of them and accept what their representatives abuse you with. There's a lot of people that aren't human. It has to do with not only how the truth was manipulated, but the medical manipulation that other groups had access to. Even if you don't believe in aliens or ETs, the high-tech stuff behind the scenes, at the least, is 50 years ahead, and at the most is 150. You realize that here again, you have to have test dummies to run the experiments on to get the right medicine. So, in their minds, they're justified. In my mind, along with all this hoopla that fits into the case, we also have the case for homeopathy. So if you have a Great Depression and you take away safe, simple, effective cellular nutrition that was pennies, that's a setup. And they knew they were going to crash the system because, remember, every 1,000 years they want to reset, grab the money, erase the history, tell you that the other civilizations were monkeys and apes, and that the civilization that we're in is the most advanced. And we know that's a veiled illusion also. Hi, Susanna, Amanda. I want to know the story of the child that you sent me the picture of, if you don't mind.
320, 340 fucking sweat. It's donation.
I'm glad you know it, Gerald.
340 sweat hours.
You know, he's the Trends Research Institute, and
340 hours of work.
he's also the Trends Research Journal, which is an online
We got
website
about 150 hours.
and media
40 hours.
publication.
We get 150 hours. We get nowhere near that. We didn't get
All right. So I've read all the comments. I appreciate them greatly. What is really wonderful is to see concise, intelligent sentences. That's your first indication you're not working with a bot. And there's technically nothing wrong with bots if you like negative predictive outcomes. I think that they used me to throw a wrench in that system.
I get it. I see some shit.
All right.
I bet you didn't know that sharks could fly. I bet you didn't know they swam that high. It's the reggae sharknado. Reggae sharknado? Yes, the reggae sharknado. Which part don't you understand? It started when reggae shark went to Washington, D.C. to speak the conservation of the sharks and manatees. Congress applauded, said we'll get on it, and everything seemed cool. Obama even let them swim in the reflected pool. Let's get in there with you. We'll do a couple laps. Then suddenly, from out of nowhere, something started brewing in the atmosphere. It was a giant sharknado. Yep, they made another sharknado. People started killing sharks off left and right, and they always had creative taglines like, "Looks like you're finished, bro. Get it? Finished." That's also my name. Whatever. It was the baddest shark assassin you ever saw. You tried to jump inside reggae shark with your chainsaw. Reggae shark said, "Let's join forces. I am not your foe. We was a big fan of your work, but I know you are no. Give me a autograph." The president said, "We don't know what to do. Come on, reggae shark. Counting on you." And looked at the Washington Monument and said, "We can turn it into a giant split. Not being disrespectful or being rude. And from what we know of George, him would approve." Then Obama in charge, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Reggae shark is a master of the arts and crafts. The local stoners
Full disclosure, in a good way.
and then the Air Force marked it up with an F-15. All of the smoke from all of the dope went up the sharknado spout. Then the shark stopped feeling and just started chilling out. Now it's roaming around like a party cruise, making people change their point of view. It's the reggae sharknado. It even chilled out the Migos. Now it's time to take the sharks back where they're from, but they're too high to give us direction. Let's just go to Colorado. Goddamn. Who wants to order tacos? Me.
All you need is love and tacos. Tag it. Oh.
Hey man, thanks for watching that Kia Awesome number 100. No, actually, this is 99.5. We didn't want this to be the 100th Kia Awesome because it's a little off. Then why you put it out now? Because I needed it to coincide with Sharknado 3. This was promotional? Yes. You put me in a dangerous situation for a promotional video? Nigga on now. Come on. Whatever. Hey guys, if you want to buy a cool reggae shark t-shirt like the one I'm wearing right now, just click on the link in the description below. Hey! How many teams you gonna say?
You better get V-necks for girls.
Mark, we gonna eat ya, boy. Can I say one more thing? Yeah, man. Don't forget to watch Sharknado 3 on the Sci-Fi Channel, July 22nd. And stay tuned for Key of Awesome number 100 for real. Where we
Oh,
salt and
shit.
pepper. We gonna jerk chicken this boy.
Okay, so you heard Sci-Fi Channel. Tag that to the whole made-up horse shit on a stick with Corey Good Wilcox and this corporation known as Gaia. I keep saying that's an acronym for the corporation that controls this earth. And if I'm wrong, so be it. I don't think I'm wrong. Now, on this side, here's this face. And it's pretty badass. You can see the amber type element. I saw that there was a great comment in there about one of the elements that is perceived to be in this stone. And I actually have a list of elements that we believe it is also. There's been gemologists and serious people, not the crystal new age community, the scientific community, that recognizes over 24 elements in this stone. And like I say, it has refined itself, cleaned itself, and grown. Not in length. It's, it adjusts itself. This stone appeared looking nothing like this at the blood moon in August of 2013. So, like I said, when I come to Ferguson, and the first thing the guy asks me is, "Hey, what's up with you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm a hairdresser that doesn't use toxic products." And he says, "No, no, no." He says, "You're a witch." And I'm like, "Dude, I am not a witch." I said, I'm the girl that knows that her earthly parents aren't her real parents, and the invisible ones we call God is mine. Hola. Some of them don't know what to say when they hear hola, which is good. I like to play with the computers. So, anyhow, I said to him, and talk about me, the dummy. I said, "Dude," I said, "you know what an alchemist is?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "That's fucked up, man. I mean, you know about the dark arts, but you don't know about the sacred science." Now, these were the people that weren't going to let me in the town. And I have to tag the Boyd and call out the name Vincenzo, because the man, Joe Lanero, who is now stroked out, tag it, Vinny G, you pain in my ass. Okay? He's the one that told me that he used to date a witch and everything was cool with him. And his ex-wife was Sue. And she's dead now too. But see, Joe Lanero ran the entire town of Ferguson along with the political assholes that run BTC because they want to kill me. And this is all true, and I've documented it in, which is why they're coming for me. But if I wouldn't have said anything, I would already be done by now. And every day, our survival hinges on people receiving this message and making the changes that need to happen. I deserve to work. I deserve to be able to communicate with people. I deserve to be able to earn an honest living. I will not die an old hag, homeless. Oh no, hella freeze over before that happens. We're not going there. So anyhow, check this out. Dude says this shit to me, and 6 months later he has a stroke. Now, we're talking about heresy. We're talking about witch hunt. All right. So if he has a fucking stroke because he did too much coke and drank alcohol every night and was involved in things that were profane and corrupt, while he's the favorite guy of the daggum town, when he has his stroke, well, everybody that called me a witch behind the scenes and laughed at me, including Ferguson Style and Spa, which did not want me here because they thought I'd take their business. I brought 300 clients to this piss-ass town. And then now they won't come back, because everything happened. But no big deal. See, it was a complete implosion, an attack that was made on me. And now I see how close it's tied in to this witchcraft and demonology, which really jerks my chain. This is not what the paranormal is. This is not the kind of family we're talking about. And this church that people have been raped by. Honestly, I can't relate. Being Lutheran by name and association was never into angelology, demonology, spirituality, none of it. Very cut and dry and civil. And I know that Martin Luther King did all those wonderful things. They just wanted to chill the heck out. And then they got lukewarm. I'm not sure. All I know is there is a strong attack on the city of St. Louis. And one of my friends from Lutheran North is now the city police chief, and you'd think he'd come talk to me. He knows I'm here. I mean, is it that easy to be controlled? We have live streams about the government of the city of St. Louis, and you want to talk about a bunch of shilled out, punk ass, money stealing, nose snooting people, and then they want to turn it into a race war. And in the meantime, well, why is everybody shooting everybody? Well, in these books right here, even if you stole a piece of bread to feed your family, you were a witch. And the next thing you know, they got you in the thumb rack. We are in not only an Inquisition and a witch hunt, we are also in a cover-up. So there was a great question here about how do you come up with 1,000 years? I received that information from watching videos where they illustrated it through the Chinese monetary system. And that's all I know about that. We've seen history now back to the 1200s. So one thing I do know is through learning about Steiner, the years immediately preceding the turn of a century are when all the great thoughts are being brought up to the surface, all the new things and all the hopes and dreams. And like in Steiner's case, shit didn't get heavy for 20 years. So by 1920, they were up his ass and on him, burning down his Gothanaeum and plotting against him and every other thing. But in those first 20 years, even the Lutheran Church had to say, sorry, we realize that we made mistakes. Kind of like in this book when they say, I'm sorry, after the person's been dead for 5 years. That's not acceptable. So it has to be 1,000 years because we have first a cryptic biblical reference, which is 1,000 days is as of 1 year to the Lord. But more importantly, let's talk about 100 years, because since 1917, St. Louis has been the home of these secret projects and experiments. And then I've also now documented that to 1899. Well, you better back up to 1894 with the founding of this town, and 1870 whatever for Florissant. So now you're seeing the river route, and you're seeing Cahokia Mounds be destroyed, and you're seeing human people locked in jails, zoos, for money. I mean, and that was all to prove Darwinism and who's a bigger monkey or jackass? That's fucked up. See? So you can't do it in 100 years because someone could actually live to be 100 years old. Look at Good Morning America. Or look at 4 generations of a family. I have one family in my clientele where I do the grandmother, the mother, the granddaughter, and the granddaughter's child. The mother is in her 70s. She had her daughter young. The daughter is my age, and she had her daughter young. Her daughter is my middle daughter's age, and she has a child. So, if you can keep a family story alive for 4 rounds of a family, well, you can't cover up the truth. And even though grandma's old, I mean, my first original client, Linda, she's a Pisces, and I've talked to her about this stuff since 1984. So it's not like if I tell her about my daily activities with the paranormal, she doesn't freak out. Our relationship is too tight, which illustrates the point that she is not a figment of my imagination. Don't buy into the thing that the only person that is real is you, because you couldn't have reproduced by yourself. And as children of God, we are all sacred. Yeah, 50 years ahead of your cell phone. Bingo. Now, you know Monsanto is right down the street from here, Susanna, Amanda, Spirit Wind Walker. And it sucks. Joe's father ran the secret programs at Monsanto. So if I tell you that they're after Joe to want to destroy him, you would realize that that's a true statement. They've tried to kill this man. And we were friends long before we were lovers. So I have known him since we were in our 20s. They called us conspiracy theorists. They called us profane. They love us for our entertainment, let's say. But they would not want you to know that that's a genius in there that has a lot of skill. And he's got more intel about St. Louis and Monsanto than you could ever want to imagine. And that's why we got to be careful about the weed, because Monsanto wants to GMO it. Now, whether or not that happens is irrelevant, because if your happy high ass goes to take a medical marijuana card, guess what you're admitting to? Mental illness. Because it's your medication, they can get screwed. I'm serious. I mean, see, the whole purpose of this witchcraft and demonology was to create insanity amongst people and to make them ill and sick and cast demons on them and tell them what potions to take. Now, if anybody thinks that this advanced society needs that kind of medicine, they better go get a fucking pain patch, right? And then have a cigarette and do a line of coke, because that's how bad this has gotten. These pains are manifestations of stress and of a manipulation that has been going on since they outlawed homeopathy from the hospitals in 1929. All for the petrochemical industry, all for your enjoyment, all for your beauty. No wonder they even hated me as a hairdresser and tried to come for me. I spoke truth about the industry that was supporting my children. Oh, wait a minute. I did that. I was the artist. I was the hands. I was the ideas. So don't tell me the fucking beauty industry paid my way. I'll take you right over to Jeffree Star and blow you out of the water. You want to talk about some horse shit. Anybody know Jeffree Star? I hope not. Because you got a man wearing makeup like a bitch, strutting around, selling and whoring products, and all he cares about is the packaging. Everybody that puts the makeup on, their skin turns red. I'm serious. The ingredients are so poison in Jeffree Star's makeup. And he knows it. And so does Sean. And it's all to poke me. My industry. The fucking beauty industry. Everything I love, they have destroyed. And it's not just me. Think about your own life. And then you have to not be pissed. But you got to get crafty. And I don't mean spell crafty. You have to have skill. You have to have passion. You have to have determination and drive. And you have to know your own heart and head. So I know it's tough. And like I said, with everything I believe is true, I believe I'm here to clean this internet up along with some mysterious people that I don't have a clue who are, and they are funny as shit, and they're pissed off. And don't say they stole nothing if somebody stole it from them first, because now you're in Robin Hood's woods. Robin Hood's woods, right. Hey, Susanna. Did you know I'm the bitch that was handed on a platter a very high up archdiocese brother that runs media for the Catholics here? I didn't know it. I mean, my buddy Randy Moggins and Steve Blum, whoever that character is, said, "Here, Suze, look at this. This priest wants to be your friend, and the only friend he's got is a little black kid from Nigeria." I'm saying, what's he want to do being my friend? I mean, I'm not even allowed in the Catholic Church. Oh, well, doesn't this start making sense now? And so I'm the bitch, me, that took screenshots of these prostituted children. Even people that work for Facebook were prostituting their own children. You got babies with YouTube channels, babies with Facebook pages. And if they're not whoring a baby, they're whoring an animal. But we're all whores. No, we're not. We're not. I can love truly and not be a whore. And that's what I'm doing. So this whole thing with sacrificing children and teenagers and adults and bums and virgins and animals. Every one of those people have been taken over, whether they have a mind virus, a parasite, a worm, or a damn demon. Or they just got a daemon that's really horny. It's all bullshit. I'm tired of it. And I have also been crucified, like I said, for talking about heterosexual, loving, sexual, and non-sexual relationships. I refuse to engage in sodomy for anybody. Now, don't get me wrong, one guy tried it. I broke up with him. Damn. You know, that's what's funny. Everybody thinks that they can change my ways. And it's like, don't you know this red hair is real? You ain't changing me. So, in the meantime, I want to tag something. And I want to break a spell. My new name, when I choose to use it, for CW Dumbass, is Weinsteiny. And that's WINESTEINY. Weinsteiny. Because I stuck up even for that worm and didn't accuse him of being a pedophile. But he sure does like sodomy. So, if all of a sudden I'm Butt Boy's booty call, well, now you say, oh shit, Suze. Oh my God. You mean Corey Good and David Wilcox sucked Channer's dick? And it's like, yeah, pretty much. Somebody circle jerk, somebody. I know that people had to fulfill these roles. My role in the video game was to identify them and knock them out. And I didn't know that. I just knew that I had been harassed and abused all my life, and I wasn't going to deal with it here in Tinkertown. I got my own hell to live right here in Ferguson, Missouri. And the walls are closing in. Oh, so 1,000, 100, and then 1. 1 is the number of beginning. We start a new cycle. I'm telling you, Gaia is a trap. It is an analogy. It is not a business. Not like what you think it is. It is a global corporation that now will make a choice whether to destroy the world or to heal it. That is my belief as a remote viewer. And I say that because back in the day, and I had to tell these jackasses, Gaia was Gaiam magazine. So what they're doing is they're putting the blame on a company called Gaiam that went online to expand their business. Now, I'm telling you what, if any of you guys work out, you might want to look up Gilad, Gilad. The dude is fine ass in his 70s, working out, kicking ass, and he's always worked for Gaiam. So I never had space aliens or secret space poop or Netflix or Hulu sucking your brains out. I wasn't into none of it. I'm just saying until I find out otherwise. And I'm not going to take any answer from anyone. Besides who identifies himself honestly and properly to me, which we'll have to go back and say is Mr. Computer Head if Adam ain't bringing his happy ass up. Okay. But I'm sorry you guys got ripped off by Gaia. I've been ripped off so many times, and I would never poke fun. I got ripped off through the dead dudes thing. Deepak Chopra, Chopcock, whatever. His daughter's running politics now. I don't know. We all get ripped off online, and we all get ripped off in real life. So we better all stand up and make sure we don't get ripped off for eternity. See, I really like the book on Dharma, Susanna, instead of karma. Dharma is what we choose to give back to the world, to our family, our friends, and to our Creator. I fully agree. They say I am a test tube baby, yes. They say I'm undead. They even say I'm the oldest soul here. Yeah, my first love came to me in 1979, so I smell what you're stepping in. I'm sure Vegas was hellacious. I was born in 1964, and you may be interested to know that my birthday, February 25th, is very significant on a cosmic aura spellcasting way. And so how that is that Rudolf Steiner and I really share a birthday, which is February 25th. But in the old country in Europe, they recorded your birthday as your baptism day, because if you weren't baptized immediately, you were cursed to hell, which is why Christians would say that I'm doomed to hell. What are you crying about? So anyhow, it was fascinating. For anyone that is interested, you want to look up a YouTube channel called Kepler. Kepler College. Let's try that. Kepler College. Fascinating channel. Not only did I find a glass cock being spoken of there, but I also listened to a chart the other day about Chelsea Clinton. Little did I know she was born February 27th. So you got to tag that to Steiner. Now you're going to come back into it. And by working with the squares and the trines and all the big stuff, what they're doing is speaking to you about what her father or her mother were involved in during key critical stages of her life chart affected her, and how they can actually spellcast on people that wouldn't be guilty and remove it off the person involved with it. I mean, if that's love, don't love me, you know? I mean, give me a break. But here again, my mom was a Gemini, And my dad was an Aries, and that's why I say they were young. Not just in body, but in mind. They were learning to love like babies and toddlers. They say a Pisces of my status has already incarnated on this earth as a Pisces. That's going to take you a step closer to who they say I am. And then, you know, here we are at the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and so on and so forth. I have never been so disappointed to see people manipulate astrology and tarot cards and any divination tools. And I guess that's part of the paranormal community here. But I'm not here to tell anybody else what to do. But if you think I'm down with all that, you got the wrong girl too. So it's like Elvis says in his pictures, and he goes like this: do you know who I am? And I think that I was the cheddar in the trap. So don't feel bad if you thought something that wasn't good about me because you heard it from Chloe the whore next door. I've documented it. I know it's hard to deal with, but now you know how high I believe the stakes are. And it doesn't matter what anybody else believes. I'm the only person that has experienced this, unless I'm right. And the Bobbsey twins or somebody steps forward and says, I'm a big fucking whoop-de-doo, bitches, and I'm a scientist, and I'm a doctor, and I'm a judge, and I run a company, and she's telling the truth. You know, c'est la vie, right? You are correct, Susanna. That's supposed to be secret knowledge that nobody's supposed to be allowed to know about me. But there's a book that you could reference called The Life You Were Born to Lead. And they do the numerology like that. And so you're right, I'm a 2911 too. And number 1 and I both wear number 11 uniforms, and we play pitch and catch. And if you're him, I'm going to pinch you. All right, anybody else got any more questions? I might start blushing. Anybody? Hey, it's been real and it's been fun. And Susanna might know all about having the vapors. I saw that on a movie, not that TV is relevant. Yeah, we rolled a long time. I'm going to get off the phone, chill out, and eat some toast. So once again, I appreciate you all very much. I'm not going to get cheese ball. I'm just going to go. So until we meet next, peace be with you.